Hi everyone, I am Pavit and I am going to share the core concept and basics of flows in Salesforce. So, flow we can say is a point and click declarative tool used for automation. Why Salesforce is promoting flow currently? Because of the capabilities of flow and retiring some automation tool that were used earlier because of the limitation of those tools. If we talk about those are workflow, process builder, approval process. These are the some of all tools. Those have on their limitations. Because of those limitations, Salesforce is promoting flow, and flow comes with his own capabilities. So some of the capabilities are better error handling, troubleshooting, debugging are easy in the flows now, and we can call some other flow also by invocable actions and subflows, and we can design our automation accordingly. But on the other hand, with the old tool there are lots of limitation. Like if we go with the workflow, then the update or the DML limitations are there are predefined four actions those uh, we need to perform. Something like email alert, field update, we cannot update the fields on cross objects. We cannot create some standard or custom objects records. We can only create task and events only. Same as process builder also have some limitations and flaws. uh, Flaws means the drawbacks of the process builder are sometimes process builder lacks in the bulkification and fails because of bulk update or bulk DML operations. Approval process also works same as the workflow, because approval process mostly use the actions of workflow rules actions. So these two are same. But for the we are migrating, like we are, or Salesforce is migrating the process builder, workflow, and approval process all into the flow. And in 2022 and or February 23 around, these are going to retire. Like if we currently have any workflow, process builder, or approval process, they will run as earlier they were running in legacy systems, but we cannot create new automations with these automation tools. So, and one more reason to retire these, like if you see there are four automation tools you are seeing on the screen. Those are somehow capable on for the same to do the same work on the system. And if we have uh, four automation tools and those are working for the same, so the handling for these automations are not easy. Where how we can handle, like if some automation is running by flow, some is running by workflow, so that may make a chaos of updates and DMLs. And as we know that Salesforce is working in multi-tenant environments, so resource sharing is there, and that's why the limitations comes in the picture. And with those limitations, the managing of those automation tools are critical. That's why Salesforce promoting flows. So what is flow? So let's start with flow and flow builder. Flow builder is a tool that helps to create flows. So flow is a point and click automation tool, and if we talk about flow basically, what flow do? Flow basically collect the data and work on that data or manipulate that data according to the definition of those flows, and either that will show you on the screens, or if you want to update that data into database, that is also flows basically do. If we talk about types of flows, basically two types of flows are there. One is screen flow and another is auto launch flow. There are many types. You can see, or I have also known that lots of types of flows are there, but all the types sum up in these two. If we talk about screen flow basically collect the data from user on screen and manipulate that data, work on that data, enrich that data, and then by the actions of the flows, we can do a DML, or we can show to the user on a screen. If we like, we can show that data to the user on the screen, and screen flow we can place anywhere in the record detail page, experience builder. There are many places to use screen according to the requirement. And one most critical problem we faced about the flow is versioning. The Salesforce flow, let's say you are modified a flow and you have activated that flow, then your expectation is to is that your active flow or your latest flow will run when anyone run the automation. Sometime that not happen, or some older version of the flow will run, then you just need to click on to the run one time, and that version will be open and activated on the all running scenarios also. So that is quick fix for the apply the latest version for all the flows. So this is the flow builder. If you see here, this is flow builder. In the flow builder there are elements and layout and the screen where you will create a flow, and the component and logic also is there. So let's go to the next slide. So uh, flow building blocks, there are three types of building blocks that uh, complete the flow. One is element, connector, and the resource. These three are the main building blocks. If we talk about the element have actions, assignment, decision, pose. These are the elements or the common elements that we have in flow building. So these elements are used to reading and writing the data and display the information. If you like to display some information on any page or by flow, by screen flow, then these are the elements those you can use. Collecting data from flows, manipulating data, executing logic. So these are assignment, decision, loop, collection. So these will help you to manipulate the data and executing the logic. And if you like to collect data from flow user, you can use the Salesforce standard resource. Those are available in flow, like user detail, or you can use get record as a SOQL. If we talk about connector basically provide or define the path of flows where that execution will go. If we see here, these are the connectors. If we see here, this is the connectors. So these connectors are deciding where that flows will go. Like if we start from here, enter screen, does user exist. So this is SQL or the get record element that we are using to get records. Here the decision element is finding that is if user found, then if user found, then this way this connector will connect this execution to the next screen. If the user is not found, then this connector is connecting with that create record element of the flow. So these are the connector, those are helpful, or the deciding factor of the design factor of the flow, the direction of flow. If we talk about resource represent a value that you can reference throughout the flow. You can say, if you talk about apex context, then these are the variables basically where you can store your value and use that value in next steps or elsewhere in the flow. So resource is basically variables, and some some out of the box resource are also available, like flow, level, organization, permission, profile, setup, system. You, these are the you may see these resources in formula fields also. So same, these are same work like here also. Like if we talk about flow provide the current execution values, and same as other also provide the required value accordingly. So we have completed the elements. If you see, elements are there, these are the elements, these are the connectors. And if we talk about resource, this is the resource, or like if you like to use or create some record or like to store some value, like if there is a field industry, if we like to update with some specific value, or we are collecting some value from other element, then if the value is storing in biotechnology resource, then you can use that field to assign that value to industry. So this is the resource basically. So these are the building blocks of flow. These three, if you like to create a new flow, just click on the new flow and you will get a screen with the types of the flows. Here are core types of flow there. Let's start with the screen flow. So the basic or the purpose is to come here is just understanding the element of flow. What are elements too? So if we talk about elements, screen, if we talk about the elements, if we talk about elements, the screen, interaction, logic, and data, these are types of elements are there. So let's start with the screen. If you are going to use screen element, then you will see there are lots of component or fields predefined or out of the box component are there to use in screen flow. So this is the screen that you can use to create a screen flow, and the elements are there, like the components are there, those you can use as fields in the flow. Subflow element you can call another flow. If we talk about assignment, so assignment basically used to, like I will talk about the if I talk about the trigger. So let's say in trigger we declare some variable in initial stage, and we will use those variables to assign some values, and to use those values we can use variables in our logic. So assignment is work same like that. If we talk about decision, if I compare with if else, switch case, or other conditional statement. So this is basically a conditional statement where you can define the criteria, and based on that criteria you can define your flow, where that what is the next action, or what is the outcome for that uh, decision, where your flow will redirect. So as I have created two criteria, just to show you how we can create criteria, like if resource is yes is true, then this is not like the any criteria, but I am just showing you by creating two decisions, and another is default outcome. You can think this as a else condition. The default outcome is a else condition, you can say. So if you like to connect that decision with another element of flow, you just need to use the connector. So the like if, as you know, there are three elements of flow: element, connector, and resource. So the connector you can use to, so that's how we can create decisions. And let's talk about loop is same as, like, if you like to iterate on collections, so you can use loop variable, but loop have its own limitations. So I will create a separate video for limitation and consideration for flows. I will share that information there, but in summary, if you can ask, there is a limitation of 2000 records or rows to iterate on over loops. Next is collection sort. If you like to sort your list or collection that you are creating on flows, so you can also sort that collection based on the available option. Like if you like to get the maximum number of the set the maximum number of the item, or you like to sort in the basis of any field or value, so collection sort will help you sort the collection that you have. Collection filter, like if you like to filter that collection based on some criteria. Let's say if you like to filter, let's say we have a collection of contact, and you like to filter the contacts those only have with accounts, then you can use that collection filter to filter the contacts with accounts. Yeah. And if we talk about action you can create, use the existing Salesforce actions. Those are available in our system. These are the data related elements, so create, update, get, record, delete. So create record is just to use the create the records for any objects. If we talk about update record, you can use to update records. And get record basically a SQL. If we talk about Apex context, so get record is SQL that used to fetch the data. And the third is delete record. By name, it's defined by his name. So if you want to delete some record, you can use the delete record element of the flow. Are the everything for flow, like these are the basics or the core of flows. If we talk about flow types, there are 5 core flow types. One is screen flow, and as we have talked about earlier, that other is auto launched flow. So screen flow basically gives you a screen to get the data, or you can input that data. Or if we want to get some data from user, and based on that data we like some automation or calculation and like to show that data to the user, we can use a screen flow. And if to update any database in our system, we like to collect some data, we can use a screen flow. Second is auto launch flow. These four uh, comes under the auto launch flow. What is the difference? Basically, auto launch flow, if we talk about here, this is auto launch flow without trigger, like there is no trigger or execution start point for that. So this will, we can call by apex. To call from apex, we can redirect or execute a url from the apex. That way the launch will execute. We can call from process builder or other flows also. We can call from rest api and more, means we can execute auto launch flow wherever we can use or execute the custom urls. So this is the auto launch flow. If we talk about triggered flow are three types of flows. One is record trigger flow. So what is the difference between auto launch flow and trigger flow? Auto launch flow, auto launch with trigger. So if what is the difference between this and these three flow? Difference is trigger. So these three comes with a trigger. So if we talk about here the trigger is record trigger. Basically the Salesforce object record triggers any record, update, insert or delete these type of events happen, then this trigger will execute record trigger. If we talk about platform event trigger, this launch when a a event message is received in the event bus, and if that trigger is subscribed that event bus, then this will trigger. If we talk about schedule trigger flow, we can define a criteria for these records. Based on that criteria, that trigger will execute and schedule for the specific time. So here we can postpone our action based on the specific time and the requirement. We can basically specify the time when this record trigger will execute. So this is the difference between these three, and these are the types of flow. There are some other types, or we can say template for flow type. So the recommendation strategy basically for Einstein next best action. If you like to use the recommendation flow in Einstein next best action component, then you can create and use that flow in the Einstein next best action. That basically created specifically for Einstein actions. Next action component, the next best action will execute based on the Einstein analysis or the recommendation. So this is the flow where AI enabled flow, we can say, where best action is decided by Einstein, or you can also define that strategy according to your requirement. The second is user provisioning flow. These are basically used to authenticate from external user, like if you like to authenticate or provisioning some extra permission for any user, then you can use that user provisioning flow that will provide extra permission for your user. And if we talk about the orchestrator, I have created a video already that you can see. Orchestrator is a complete video is available already. If you like to see, I will add that in I button. Next is field service flow. field service embedded flow, loyalty management flow, checkout flow. So these three are basically product based flows. Like if we talk about field service lightning is a product of Salesforce that support service cloud or service domains to help them. So if you like to create some flow for field service mobile app, so these are the types of flow you need to create to use in the field service mobile app. Same as loyal management flow, loyalty management flow. So loyalty management also a product of Salesforce that is created for a specific purpose. And if you like to create some automation or data collection screens to user, you can create these type of flow. And the last is checkout flows. These are also product specific, like e-commerce or B2B commerce cloud, where if you like to create some payment or payment gateway with checkouts, then you can use flows to create the checkout window, and you can use these type of flows in B2B cloud.